Hi, Fisher friends. It's Mrs. Gish. Hey, we're going to be working on text and graphic features today. So if you can pull out your packets and take a look at this section here, I've got some examples of text and graphic features on the first page for you. There you'll see things like titles and headings. Those are examples of text features. Graphic features would be things like the photographs or the map, things that are more like pictures, okay? So there's all sorts of different things that you might see, especially in an informational text, things like a title or a heading, photographs, captions. Sometimes the text will have italics or bold-faced words. All of these things are to help draw the reader's attention to things so that you see the important things even better, okay? There's lots of information we get in an informational text, and so all of these things help us to see these things better and to make sense of it more. All right, so we're going to be using this page, and then we're going to use it to help with our graphic organizer, which looks like this. That's on your next page. So this is our Monday work. Okay, so you're going to keep this column chart, this graphic organizer handy as we start to look through the story that we read last week, The Life and Times of the Ant. We're going to just look at those pages and look for graphic features. We aren't necessarily going to do an in-depth reading of it. We're going to look at it to see what features did the author use to help us see information more clearly, okay? So you're going to want to keep this one handy. We're going to be writing in it over the next few minutes. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is turn to the first page in your story, The Life and Times of the Ant. It looks like this. Okay, go ahead and turn to that page. Make sure you're all with me before we start. So when I take a peek at this page, some things jump out at me right away. One of them is the title or this heading. The title of the story is The Life and Times of the Ant. So this would be one of the headings, okay? Why do you think they would have a heading on this section? Well, headings help us to kind of know what this spot is going to talk about. All right. I also see this down here at the bottom of the page. Do you see this thing down here at the bottom right there? That is a timeline, and it shows us what animals were alive at what times in history. Okay, so those are the two big things I see right now. Let's go ahead and add those to our graphic organizer. So we're going to come back here to our graphic organizer. And the first thing I'm going to write is about that heading that we saw right there. So we're going to write that in the first column at the top. Okay, and that was on page 354. And the purpose of a heading is to give us the main idea of the section of text. Okay, if you need to pause the video to write that in, go ahead and pause. The next section, the next thing that we noticed was that timeline. So I'm going to write timeline. Again, it was on page 354. And the purpose of a timeline is to tell us when and in the order that things happen in. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause and fill in your graphic organizer. Let's check the next page out. Here we go. All right, so if I just look at this page, some of the things that jump out at me are, I see a lot of artwork, some illustrations. See, right, like that one right there. I can see some of it is kind of cartoonish and some of it is more realistic. Do you see that there's a cartoon ant and then a more realistic illustration of an ant? So interesting. I also see another thing that jumps out at me is this little highlighted word down here at the bottom. I bet most of you know what those highlighted words are. Those are our vocabulary words, aren't they? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go back to our graphic organizer. We've got the information we had before, and let's add a few more things that we just saw. We saw illustrations. That was this time on page 355. And the purpose of an illustration is to show information like in a picture form. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause and fill in your graphic organizer. All right, the other thing we saw was a highlighted word, right? And we know those highlighted words, remember page 355, and the highlighted words in our book, in our Journeys book, are the vocabulary words. So that's how come they want those to stand out, those highlighted words. Pause the video if you need to fill in your chart. Okay, so you are going to go through some more pages in your story, The Life and Times of the Ant, and you're going to continue this work. Refer back to this example sheet with all these different ideas on it, all these different examples of text and graphic features if you're looking for other things that you might find in your story this week. Feel free to use this chart over and over again to come up with what to call something, okay? Fill in the rest of your graphic organizer, and then when you're all done, you're going to send a picture of your work to your teacher on Class Dojo. All right, boys and girls, thanks so much for being with me. Good luck on your work. I can't wait to see what you do.